Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Raj and Griz and the Realm's Requirements, a Dada discussion, a live stream today with not only me, but that guy Raj that you might know from his smash hit, Waheguru Simran.
You know,
I am the muted. Welcome in, but hey, dropping my indigo. With the floor roll of 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I will get your savings throws out of the way now. You get to choose survival, social, wisdom, and heart. You pick one. If it's over 10, you take half damage from the mind control that follows. If it's under 10, you take full damage from the mind control. But we want what's best for you. Raj, what are you going to pick?
I'll go with wisdom today.
All right, Raj is going wisdom, and there we go. Choose! So, survivalist, that's a nat 1. Your bonuses do not apply. No. Socialist, though, that's a number 9. 9. Just chatting in the HiveMind chat gives you the +2 you need for the next stream. Lovers of wisdom, like our friend Raj there, feeling blue, got a 3. A 3 for you. And heart, folks. People here for the heart of it. That's a 9 for you. Not a floor roll indigo, folks. Also with a number 9. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Raj, who has the co-hosting powers to bring himself up here, just like that. Look, we're giving people superpowers. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Superpowers are cool.
They are. Oof. We have from another wisdom brother. Hezi is in the audience. Good to see you, Hezi. Maybe at the end of this grilling session between me and Raj, we can let other people fill in the house. So, I know you as coming on Pastor Paul Vanderclay, indicating you were Final 5, and then doing the rounds of this little corner's channel circuit. Including, mind you, this fabulous appearance on my channel.
Similar to some Hinduisms and Buddhism, but you don't have this thing where you level up one level or level down one level. So it's like, I was a pretty good guy, so maybe I'm born again as a human being, but a little bit higher in the caste system. Or I was a pretty good guy, maybe I'll born into.
So that was fabulous, and you did all of that. Please give your report of that whole experience to the HiveMind over here.
I greatly enjoyed talking with you, Grim. It's you ask me questions that I can't ask myself, and so that's one of my favorite things about this corner is being able to hear questions that you cannot ask yourself.
And the love of grilled cheese. So, how many shows in the circuit did you end up running through after your big PVK rando slot appearance?
I think it was 3. It was you over at Grill Country, and then Jacob's channel, and then Then I started a channel. I've only had 2 conversations on there, but Chad came on there and we had a really good talk. It was he basically outlines the whole history of AA in that conversation.
Jenna says, "Good morning, Embody. And now I run branding." Remember, Embody.
There is no agency. We want
what's best. Now, are you at all peripherally aware of my intention to start a dark arts class in this corner?
You've mentioned it. I'm not quite sure what that means. What kind of dark defense against the dark arts are we talking about? Are we making amulets and learning spells, or what are we doing here?
Well, you're familiar with the novel series by the J.K. Rowling.
Yes.
With the Harry Potter. Could you, what is the defense against the dark arts class as you know it from that? For those of unfamiliar in the HiveMind, that would help.
What I remember is it's basically combat spells. Spells that can harm and spells that can defend. And it was mostly a spell-related class. It wasn't like herbology or potions or anything like that. I'm not sure how much enchantment was involved, but I could imagine that the invisibility cloak would be some version of defense against the dark arts.
Do you remember where the class took place and who were the instructors?
I don't remember where it took place. I would guess near the Slytherin branch of Hogwarts, but it was always someone somewhat of a shady character, someone who had something dangerous about them themselves, like Snape or Lupin. Not lupus, that's a disease.
So is lycanthropy. So as I was corrected, like after mentioning the school, it takes place in the room of requirement. And now I'm starting to see that the corner in these conversations we have here somewhat as that. Like, particularly since Pastor Paul has underlined how the autodidacts run into less than didactic rulership in local administrations and feel like they can't, in good faith, sign up to that they believe what the others must sign they believe. And those people and those conversations seem to have come here. To the extent I think we need a defense against the dark arts class is that I consider advertising dark arts. That they show you things to make you feel a certain way. That certain way supposedly to predispose you to purchase their brand of product, and those kind of spells and mind control, and defense against those, and that we have to teach ourselves makes it a brilliant angle to mimetically hijack something as popular as Hogwarts back rooms, you know.
One thing that comes to mind almost immediately is Lupin's. It was one of the, I guess, assignments you could call it, and he brought in, I believe they call it a boggart, and that's a shapeshifter that takes the shape of whatever you fear the most. And for some of them, it was something like a basilisk, or it could be just an embarrassing moment. But he showed them a series of spells, but the main spell that worked against this boggart was a spell which makes a fool out of the boggart, because laughter is what destroys it.
Is that not like a beautiful way of presenting psychological metaphors to people, wrapped up in a story about a boggin?
Quite.
Janice says, "Am I the only person who never went to Hogwarts school?" No, Janice, no. A lot of people weren't allowed to. But the mimetic penetration of how many people who did make it probably the next best thing to that Pokemon hijack they did with Pokemon Go, as far as there's people all over the world who have decided whether or not they're Ravenclaw or Slytherin on the inside already. So they'll
And
know.
it continues to this day. We had it's been Spirit Week at the elementary school, and kids were dressed up as Hogwarts characters. They had on Gryffindor robes, and they were asking me what house I was in. These are 9 and 8-year-olds, so it's still very, very much alive and in the culture.
This cross-cultural ratcheting is terribly important, and part of why I brought you on here. If I'm going to start trying to teach people about the benefits of understanding compartmentalized knowledge, and call that my defense against the dark arts offering. I know this guy who's actually involved in educating people, and like probably learned some tips and techniques and rhetorical wizardry that he might be willing to impart to me here on a live stream. And so that's part of that is the defense against the dark arts discussion part promised in this thumbnail. Raj and Griz and the realm's requirements. The stream you're watching right now.
The list?
Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right? What room? I want to cast Magic Missile. The room where he's casting all these spells from. He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
No, you are in the room, Raj. And Anami says, what's the background say? Seek futurism? Face
Yeah, it's a
blue
great
question mark.
It's a great what do you call it? Instagram account. I borrowed some of their art. Here's another one for you guys. This is AI generated art.
Well, if you're gonna duck, I'll put it.
I thought that would work.
All right, do that. But when you come up, say something mystic and enlightening.
Something mystic and enlightening? Okay. Ek Onkar Satgur Prasad.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Raj and Grim on this quest of the realm's requirements. What's educating actual little people like? How much of it can I apply to teaching people the defense against the dark arts here on the YouTubes? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I've only been teaching for like a couple of years. I don't have my own classroom yet, so that's a caveat. I will say examples, make it as tangible as possible, and visual aids if you can incorporate pictures, which you already do both of these things. So I don't know how helpful that is. But examples, giving multiple examples of the same thing over and over again, because that's just pointing out the pattern. And that's, I mean, in a sense, all education is pattern recognition.
And your goal is to just show the pattern, and show the pattern until the light bulb goes off in the people you're showing.
Yeah, and you have to show the pattern and then coax them along until they can recognize. You show them the pattern, and then you give them another situation where you don't tell them what the pattern is, and they have to be able to spot it themselves.
That's the testing portion.
So
confirm that they've picked up what you've been putting down.
Exactly. So you draw 3 circles on the board, and you show, or maybe 5 circles, cut one into fourths, you cut one into thirds, and you shade all of them, and then you do 4 over 4 is equal to 3 over 3, right? And that equals 1. Then you show them another circle. Maybe it's cut into eighths. Can someone come up to the board and write? You don't tell them this part, but what you want them to write is 8 over 8, and it equals 1. because the pattern is the same there, but the each instance is different.
Is the bringing one up to demonstrate the knowledge something they taught you? Is it like a philosophy of education kind of thing to do that specific move?
It was taught in the school and by my mentor teacher, but it would be classified under a umbrella term called best practices.
How do you deal with disruptive questions, like a kid in the class raising his hand, be like, "Do Sikhs play sitar? I like sitar."
They do, not very much inside of the actual services. So that's one way. You give them a quick little answer, then you get back on topic, get back on train. That way they don't feel like they're being unheard or disrespected, because everyone likes their voices to be heard. But
I think Upcycle might like it to be heard that he had a similar question. What's the difference between Sikh music and Carnatic music? Both types use the sitar, I think.
So there's two classes of Indian classical music. There's Hindustani classical music and Carnatic classical music. Carnatic is from southern India, and Hindustani classical music is from northern India. And Sikhi originated in Punjab, which is in North India. So our musical tradition is more in line with Hindustani classical music, if that helps.
Does anyone who wants to become Sikhi have to prepare themselves to answer questions about the entire history of the religion constantly? Or can you roll savings throws against it?
You could say, I don't know. That's totally fine, right? As long as if you're prepared to say, I don't know, you can get through a lot in life.
All right, Chessie with a home run out here. How do the kids understand truth?
I don't know. I will have to ask them. I know the high schoolers are pretty relativistic in their understanding of truth and in morality, but I don't know when it comes to the elementary students.
Relativistic in terms of truth and the morality.
Yep. Can
you unpack that for people that like things unpacked for them?
I had a conversation. I put up a question on the board as a warm-up in the English class. How do you know right from wrong? And very quickly, in I think all of the classes that I asked this question, in each class, some student said, yeah, but what the Nazis were doing was right for them in their society. Yeah, so that's not a joke. That is absolutely a conversation. I said, no, guys. It's still what they did was wrong and evil. But they're like, no. But if you're living in that context and you think it's good, so that it's good. Like that's how they were responding to me. If you think it's good, then that makes it good. Or if your society is saying it is good, then that makes it good. No, that was wrong and evil. I can say I'm the strongest man in the world. That doesn't make me the strongest man in the world.
The people are surprised that the young would be holding such a view.
I would say that was maybe there is at least 5 or 6 kids who would defend that position in each class, and I asked that to about I think 9 or 10 classes.
That obedience maps correctness?
What's that?
Obedience to the culture is the definition of right?
Yeah, essentially. But there was a couple in each class. There was at least one student in each class who had they said, no, there's a right and wrong. But they were definitely the minority.
If you had heard that on the internet people were doing defense against the dark arts, what sort of classes would you expect, given that in the situation where someone carrying the belief that right and wrong is strictly obedience, was the victim of a dark art, and people were trying to help other people be made aware that such forces were playing at their every move. What sort of classes would you expect? What would you hope for in such an endeavor?
Aphorisms.
Aphorisms.
Yeah, being able to an aphorism is cool because usually they have a moral punch to them, but you also have to figure it out yourself.
Well, I have heard, and this is just a rumor, that sometimes aphorisms are hidden in cowboy jokes. And I feel the need to consult Miriam. Oh, cowboy poems, excuse me. So I thought I would run this while I brought up Miriam. Thank you for putting this on the internet for everyone.
Hey, this is Raj. I'm going to share some poems that I've written. This is a set of cowboy poems. That's what I call them. A lot of them don't have titles, but yeah. Let me pull them up here.
Bro, you can clip those parts out if you like people.
Yeah, will do.
I don't, but you can.
Get out of these streets. Hard times are always bad. This one met a man from Kalamazoo who looked a lot like horse leg glue. He had 3 nickels balanced on his nose, who wore wholly dirty old clothes. He grumbled about the government, how they always spent and never invent. Then he turned and pointed at me. He said, "Boy, you better get out of these streets. Hard times are a-comin'. Blood will spill. The crooks and robbers will get their fill. They'll play folks like a tuned-up fiddle, all the while laughing, launching their spittle." He was a whooping and a hollering and a jumping around. I was hoping to escape into the gathering crowd, but his eyes were locked dead onto mine. It's like he had a hold of my mind. Don't run from your fate, can't you see? You're exactly what this here nation needs. A good young buck who loves his home, who don't sell friends for lumps of gold, who wants everybody to just be free, 'cause they're a lot like you and a lot like me. Then the crowd started getting mad. "How dare you say these dirty things? Everything here is fine and dandy. Look at the young lads gorging on candy. Teenage girls calling old men daddy. We say, we'll say it again. This body politic is nice and natty." The throng started teeming with strife. A husband began beating his wife. A mother choked her newborn dead. Kids began biting like they'd never been fed. All the while he smiled. I got picked up by each one of my limbs. My folks kept pulling. Members twist and bend. I felt bones get ripped out of their sockets. I looked at the sky and saw a golden winged rocket. I shout, "Oh, to be hurled into space." They tore my skin and ripped my face. All the while he smiled. Curse the dirty street man from Kalamazoo who spoke words that were much too true.
And curse the man from Kalamazoo. He spoke the words that were much too true. Hey, I like it. I like it. What? Oh, I didn't look up Miriam. Son of a... I was so distracted by your eloquence. Anything you'd like to say on it?
I was thinking about getting some cowboy boots today.
I believe you should, sir. I believe you should. An aphorism. Miriam, help. Am I showing things? No, of course not. Here, put us here. An aphorism.
Aphorism.
She's
scrupulous.
Perhaps. An
aphorism
is a concise statement of a principle. A principle, a terse formulation of a truth or sentiment, an adage. The high-minded aphorism, "Let us value the quality of life." That sounds the high-minded? High-minded. By high-minded, they clearly mean eugenically minded. No, but I did kick you a question. What do you think we should have in our defense against the dark arts? Dudes!
I think this building of culture that we're doing is a really good defense. Being
building
able to
of culture.
Yeah, but being able to share poetry, being able to share songs, conversation as an art. This is all I've this is something I have to work on personally, but it's something that comes up in my mind over and over again. You stop consuming culture, create culture.
Oh.
Because the dark arts that we are afflicted by is the culture we consume. So the defense against the dark arts is the creating of the culture.
Okay. Do it again.
And stop consuming culture, instead create culture. Like this beautiful art behind me. Someone's using new tools and creating culture. This is giving me a positive vision of the future. It's a little fantastical. There's other things which are less fantastical. This person also makes art related to what people might look like in the future in terms of their fashion and what other buildings might look like. And it gives me a positive vision of the future that I feel like I can strive for. So you got to make that culture.
It's always better in the first take, man. We got reapers for that sort of thing.
I got to practice this. I don't have my media training in yet.
It's part of I guess what people can learn from me while playing around here. That's what McKenna said. What's what McKenna said?
Create the culture, don't consume it.
Create the culture, don't consume. I think we are. And that means it's probably a good time to brand it. We do want what's best for you. And now I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to take this invite link right here and jump through the hoops I have to make it public. Meanwhile, I think we should start our discussion about the inspired, shall we say, email you sent to me about my paintball crucifixion in Chino, California this May. Would you like to just convey your concerns?
I can just read it if that's easier.
Well, I thought it was beautifully written, so please.
Okay, I'll read it. I'll try to do this a little dramatically.
And to those of you not aware, it's the potential manifestation of an authorized crucifixion where I get up on a cross and everybody involved shoots me with paintballs has been discussed and somewhat in the works for the Anna Chino 23 Estuary Chino event complex. And Raj had some feelings about the such an event and is going to share them with you now. While I look up, what was I looking up? I'll see if I can remember.
In regards to justifying the cross at Paintball for Jesus, God is an outlaw. In fact, God is the outlaw, that one which is outside of the law. You see it in Christ. He is crucified with two criminals. He is the outlaw. Guru Nanak, 1, was in prison, as was Guru Hargobind, 6. Many of the true are in some sense outlaws, and the outlaw is different from the criminal. Outlaw comes from the late Old English utlaga, which is from the Old Norse, and it means outlawed or banished. Criminal, on the other hand, comes from the Middle English related to wickedness and sin, and the Latin crimen, which relates to judgment and offense. In the court of the Lord, those convicted by the court of the Lord, Those convicted by the courts of men, for their courts are many and quarrelsome, are blessed in his true court. If the cross is to be carried, it cannot be done through the approval of man. Man is quick to judge compared to the one outside of time. It is when we outlaw ourselves, banish ourselves, disregard myself from their law that we can follow his. They would never approve something where somebody could be hurt. Fie, I say, fie. What an outrage to the memory of Christ. Likewise, if you want to don the cross, I say the imitation must be sincere, for then it is no true donning, but rather it is an imitation that rightly does offend. Outlawism is one of the unique aspects of the TLC, outlaw energy. However, the TLCers who are housed within a tradition or institution ought to, or can be, maybe some of them are our guys on the inside. God is sovereign. We must imitate what God is like to be like God. That means you are sovereign. There is no Dada, but Abba, and you are his son. Programming by example. Program comes from Latin, means written notice or to write publicly, or that which is written before. And an example comes from exaplum, examir, to take out. X is out, amir is take. The one taken out of that which is written publicly. The one is the one who is taken out of what is written publicly, the outlaw. For the one who is outside is the before writer. The patterns have to be set by true ones before it can be instantiated. And what we've seen in stories like The Grand Inquisitor, and even in W.E. Du Bois' short story about Christ going through the South, Christ will always be rejected by the church. But the church will repent and accept Christ after the fact.
Okay. I don't know, just in case anybody wanted to make a clip, I thought a nice end to it. There, you were starting to spin off from the email into freestyle again.
Yeah.
I loved it. Fie, you say.
Fie, I say.
So either A, you don't get permission when you do it, or B, you doing it is just, if you get permission to do it, it's a mockery of doing it. It's the gist.
I don't think you're going to get permission. And it's like, you're never going to get permission to follow God. No one is ever going to give you that permission because people don't want you to. Even in the institutions. Because it is, God reduces us. And no one wants to be reduced. Because I'll be honest, when you first brought it up, when I was watching that talk with you and Van Donk, I was howling with laughter. I was like, this is the most outrageous and offensive thing I could imagine saying to somebody.
That was outrageous? You thought it was outrageous and offensive?
I thought it was absolutely outrageous. If you had suggested doing something like that in a Sikh related context, it would be not met with like, these things are holy and reverential. You don't, like, if you're going to do it, you better be doing it sincerely. Like, is it a game? Like, why do you want to do that?
That is actually a prototype for an initiation ritual.
Okay.
And it's, for me personally, it's doing that ritual for myself, going through that ritual to, like, make my own path to manhood. Now that I'm 45 and whatnot. So, like, the dead wood that won't burn off, perhaps, will be jostled loose by the paintball of my peers, who get to see, like, like, Peterson gets off on, like, well, I started fantasizing about what I'd do if I was a Nazi guard. And so I think everybody who's there and shooting me with the paintball gets to taste that a little bit, you know? them as the guard, right? And I get to taste. Well, I kind of was hoping to kiss somebody on the cheek and throw them up there instead, but I get to take, like Van Donk said, like, what if I have this guy make this fancy cross, and we do this every time we do a paintball for Jesus, like the cross travels around for it. Like if we make it a thing, then it would be like there's always got to be someone on the cross, who amongst the group is going to take it lay down his body for his brothers, so they don't have to. And so we got that. I think we can invoke as a ritual that's Christian enough to use the symbology, but if the lightning strikes, we'll know it was too blasphemous and we shouldn't have.
Just think about, like, the idea of being able to get permission from the church, I think.
Oh, no, it's from the paintball place for liability.
Oh, from the paintball place. Okay. Okay.
Here's the hoops you have to jump through for us not to get sued, which is the only way we'll allow it at all, because we don't want to get sued.
Are they going to let you be on that cross without the gear on?
I believe we've gotten down to like tank top and shorts.
Okay.
And like facial and reproductive protection was part of my stipulation the whole time.
Okay.
But I like it. I like it.
Okay.
We have heard. I have the only other feedback. I've gotten nothing in the comments, but I did get another email that was concerned about like to me getting paintballed and doing that and putting myself through that angle of it.
Because of your body being harmed?
Yeah. Why would you do that?
I'm not worried about that.
What temperature? I think it's important also I think it's also important to give the assassins an opportunity to, like, we'll just increase the air pressure on this one gun and have the special paintball in there. Yeah, see, Josh is thinking about it, but it's how serious this whole. I think it's important to get the young men back in church, and I think that sponsoring paintball teams is a beautiful way to do it. Because you're gonna have to have something to pull them out of the devices, something other than the devices that's worth doing, that competes with that state of flow and whatnot. I mean, what's the age range of students you're actually dealing with out there?
8 to 10 currently.
And they all have devices, right?
Oh yeah, the school gives them. All the kids have Chromebooks from the district because of distance learning. So distance learning has caused this fundamental transformation to the classroom where they had these Chromebooks before distance learning, but there would be one cart maybe amongst the whole grade level. Now every student is expected to have their own Chromebook, and a good chunk of the assignments, that I give to them are on the Chromebook actually.
Have you had to deal with any Chat GPT related stuff yet?
No, they're much more. It's like they are figuring out how to play Roblox or play different shoot 'em up games while I'm trying to teach them. And so I have to either shut down their computer, lock the computer through an app on my computer, or I just take the Chromebook from them.
Hey, Art. So the whole defense against the dark arts thing, and I have this imaginary person who finds what we're doing here and really benefits from it. Mm-hmm. And then that imagined person is stereotypically fairly healthy, like neglectful, but their mother and father kind of thing, and who are suddenly there, not there, but had left them sheltered to that point, and now they're there to face the world. what information is most valuable to them in that situation, and what's worth warning them about, as if me getting such a thing back in the day would have saved me from my own fate.
I was talking to one of the students on Friday yesterday, and he's a really soft boy. He's roly-poly. He's less emotionally mature than the other students. He is the youngest child in his family, and the rest of his siblings are grown adults, so he gets babied a lot. And I asked him, do you want to be a baby forever? And he says, and he talks like a little kid. Like, he doesn't talk like a 9-year-old. He's like, I'm not a baby. I'm a kid. And I said, well, do you want to be a kid forever? And he said, yeah. I said, well, you can't be a kid forever. He's like, I know. I said, well, either you can go become an adult. Like, we can figure out a way in which you're going to get ready to be an adult, or you can, you're not going to be able to be a kid forever. I'm sorry, but that no one's ever told you that before, but you can't that's not an option. And
what if I get hormone blockers though, Raj?
Is that's a big part of that, isn't that? I didn't really think about that, because it's stopping puberty. Yeah. Jeez.
Welcome. We have Stephanie Christos. First time chatting in my chat, HiveMind. Welcome. You get +5 to the next savings throws thanks to that. What do you teach there, Raj?
Oh, just this elementary school. It's a 4th grade class.
What does one teach 4th graders?
Fractions, Gold Rush in California at least, and how to writing informational essays, narrative ones, and opinion ones. Right now in math we're doing fractions. Before that we were doing division. The kids don't like division.
Especially in their families.
Yep.
Hey, Chris, anybody else want to come on board? We do have the link at the top. This is a Saturnday social thing I'm trying.
Hop on in here, folks.
Millennials were told they'd be kids forever in the way they are, says Matt C. Right up until the thing goes off the waterfall, perhaps.
Well, Gen Z is the last letter of the alphabet.
No signaling there. You see that Walking Dead show they put out? Very popular for some reason.
There's, I think, another way to defend against the dark arts. A lot of my suggestions are going to be very basic sort of things, but practicing your manners. I had learning how to be helpful in the right way. There's another student in the class. He's very defiant. He's like, if he took a personality quiz, he'd probably be 1 or 2% in terms of agreeability. He's a very disagreeable little kid. And Z for zombie. And I was having this conversation with him because he didn't earn his fun Friday because he was being he was not doing what he was supposed to be doing, we'll say.
So there's figure worship built in. Okay, good to know.
As we were having this conversation about what it means to be a gentleman, he put his foot on the door while a kid was walking out, and he was using his foot to hold the door open, and the kid tripped over his leg. And I was like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? And he got frustrated. He's like, I'm just trying to help. I was like, oh, you don't know how to help. Like, that comes from a real place, but it's like, look, this is what you got to do. It's more work than I appreciate you're trying to hold a door open for somebody, but stand up, go to the door, and pull it open with your hand and stand behind the door.
Everything you do it as if you're doing it for the Lord. I slapped myself with that one quite a bit. You got a miracle story? We got Chris Show bugging you for tell us a story from speaking about About a miracle.
About a miracle. I can't think of one off the top of my head right now. Let's see.
How about the increase in autistic kids these days?
Yeah, I don't know about that. That is an interesting question. I don't have any students who are diagnosed autistic in my class. There might be one or two students who it seems like maybe they display some autistic traits, but could be a whole bunch of other reasons. But nobody's been officially diagnosed in my class as autistic.
We're on like third gen though, so like the symptoms have been suppressed quite a bit toward normalcy.
How do you mean? I'm ignorant of this.
Like, to the extent autism isn't at all genetic, of course, but like being raised, nurtured by the autistic is like the nature nurture debate. The nurture isn't nothing, and that influence, as like the same way it was an influence when people came back shell shocked from World War I. Right, the child rearing derivative of these things, like first gen autism and the veterans from the first wars.
So autistic people raising children and then them becoming autistic through the raising?
To the extent that autism manifests as social dysfunction. The social dysfunction don't have the skill set to teach their offspring proper social interaction. So even if the child was genetically normal, they wouldn't be reared into how to use understand even the feelings that their parentage would be foreign to their parents. Like, it's the same way if a generation was born with telepathy, right? What could their parents teach them about how to send their thoughts and block out the voices, and having not had that mutation?
This is what like I do think that this relates to the manners aspect and practicing courtesy. I have a student who told me he doesn't eat dinner at the dinner table. He might eat it on the couch or something like that. And so I can tell. I asked him that because I could tell he doesn't know how to sit properly. He doesn't know how to. I know I sound like an old curmudgeon. I sound like some British.
Fuck, dude. All right, shit. There's a Rascal t-shirt available in the links below.
But
sit properly with this guy. This is why I have an irreverence hindrance. It allows me so much more cognitive resources to not have the reverent architecture built in.
But it's if you don't know how to sit still and focus on something, right? That's what dinner time is. It's a time where you can sit still, relatively still. Obviously, you're gonna fidget and stuff like that, and you're moving your arms, but you're sitting and you're focusing on a task. The task is eating, but then also you focus and you look at the other people and maybe you have a little bit of conversation. There's so much that you learn in that.
Yeah, I thought your story was going to be the kid didn't have dinner at the dinner table because he wanted to be close to the rest of his family, and they were all sitting in front of the black screen.
I mean, it's possible, but like I think he's probably at home with maybe a brother because I think the mom works late, so he's probably eating on the couch by himself or with his older brother. Also, a Sikh story popped into mind.
One with a miracle because he's theming out here. This guy. Well, a sign? A wonder?
A pattern, maybe not a sign or a wonder.
Take it.
In Guru Nanak's youth, when he was about 8 or 9 years old, he rejected a Brahmanical hoop, a string that gets tied around the body. Stop me if I've told this one before. And it's something that high class Hindus are supposed to wear. And he rejects wearing this string when he's about 9 years old, as he sees it as part of a sort of religious casteism, and people get a big ego about it. And he recognizes that true spiritual enlightenment isn't going to come through a string. You have to practice these various virtues.
I'm going to do a dramatic reenactment as we go along. I
Okay,
ain't gonna
I'll-
wear y'all string. Yeah.
And he rejects this. And through this, he has rejected his Hindu faith. So essentially, this is the point at which he no longer has a caste when he's about 9 years old. Fast forward about 200 years into the future, and Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, he is the 9th guru, and he goes and confronts the Mughal emperor, who's tyrannical at this point, and he's converting people by the sword, and he's trying to put a stop to various religious groups, religious activities. And Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji goes to confront the Mughal, one, to protect his own Sikhs and his own community that's being built up around them, but also as a way to defend. He went on behalf of other people as well, including some of the local Hindus, local Hindu clerics and Hindu communities. And he tells the emperor that the people are allowed to wear that string, the very string which Guru Nanak had rejected. And then the Mughal emperor chops his head off. And
Mughal emperor, the people should be able to wear the string, and you shouldn't be converting by the sword.
That's pretty much it. And he probably did sing something, so probably sang some hymns.
So is that the end? That like one rejects the string, and then 200 years later one dies for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the pattern. That's as close as you're gonna get, Chris, without coming on here and pulling it out of him yourself. But hey,
maybe I'll make reading the miracle stories videos on my channel. I'll just read some stories for Chris.
Apparently, he's a fan. He's a fan. Well, I appreciate you taking this ride with me.
Yeah.
If you have any insights into my form as I go forward and try to educate people of the Uck, because I figure if I can get this one topic down, if I can get the Uck conveyed, then that'll be a first. Okay, this is how this goes. This is how you do this. And if you'd like to come teach a class of something, it's kind of just. I think we need to be talking about this. Other than, I mean, the savings throws are step one, but there's other things we can give people the skill set to deal with. Me or just
in people, and just in general, watch out for envy. Envy is very destructive. That's one thing that I've been seeing in the classroom. The classroom is watch out for envy, and also remember this aphorism that men tend to excuse their faults with the faults of others rather than their own innocence.
Yeah, because like if you guys are still gonna eat bacon and stuff your face with Cheetos, and I'm doing at least fine not doing that, but right? I get it. All right. This guy is making me you're black mirroring me too hard with your golden shadow, sir. But I do appreciate you coming by, and now Luke shows up. Are you coming on, Luke? We're about to shut down. There's a link at the top. Come on, Luke, save the show. Keep us going over here. Everybody, Tinkerbell, clap for Luke to come on.
Yeah, let's go, Luke.
Look. Or just become so awesome that envy is impossible. That's the route I've been taking, Luke. Clearly.
Solution.
Clearly. He's not going to. Luke never comes on my show. I think his agency won't let him. Speaking of which, remember, Embody.
There is no agency. We want
what's best. Did I get a no out of him? Unfortunately, I can't right now. So, Raj, tell me.
Do you have anything you want to say in conclusion?
Don't be.
That aphorism was what I had, man. Why are you making me do another one?
No. There's something here. There's something there. It's we got to figure out a way to embrace the outlaw energy.
And if you haven't figured it out yet, supporting Grimm's Buy Me a Coffee may be the best you can do. Thanks, Sambad. Stephanie says, Raj, I really appreciate what you have to say, and I'm so happy you're teaching our children. We need 1 million of you. Have you married? And is she up for it? Josh says, don't be a dick. I represent the fraternal regiment embodying narcissistic sociopathy. I have requirements. Thank you, Up, for being here in the HiveMind chat. Goodbye, everybody, and good night. Remember, Embody.
There is no agency. We want
what's best.
for you.